Good morrow, everyone. This is CedLove with his Devil's Advocate podcast. Hope you're having a good day, and if not, hope tomorrow goes better. Also, Happy New Year. It's been a while since I've been on here, but because of all the craziness that was happening in 2020, figured I'd just take a break. It was a longer break than expected, but at the same time, I feel refreshed because with all the news and all the mail and all the information that was getting thrown at me all through 2020, I couldn't keep my mind right on, this. So figured as everybody else in the world, just start fresh once the new year comes. I've already got a few things in the works, which is nothing big, but a few videos, few ideas that will be coming down the pipeline. So hopefully 2021 will be a better year. Last year, when it came to my podcast, I was always trying to get topics to talk about, which it's not a bad idea, but there are times you can always tell it's not that I ain't had nothing to talk about. It's just kind of hard for me to focus on a topic without me sounding like I'm writing an essay. This year, I'm going to try not to do that. I think I'm just going to, turn it on and just talk. So for the few podcasts I've had in the past that were bad, and I know they were bad, hey, my bad. But this year, I'm going to try to do a little better with my podcast. So I'm going to start this podcast off by saying COVID. That was a thing last year. And unfortunately, it looked like it's going to still be a thing this following up year. But, it's such a big pandemic. This is not something that's probably going to be just like snap your fingers and it's going to be gone. So, hey, it's here to stay for a while. So, we should already be used to it because of 2020. So, at this point, if people aren't used to it, I'm not saying you got to accept it. But if you're not used to it, I don't know what to tell you. But COVID, as I said, that was a thing, 2020. And your boy caught COVID. So obviously the people who knew, friends, families, close acquaintances, you already knew I had COVID. For the individuals that did not know I had COVID, then I would say at the point I caught it, COVID obviously wasn't, I got to make sure I don't sound insensitive, but I say this, a big deal than it was when it first came out. When I went to get tested, I didn't really know I had it. I just went to the doctor, obviously, to get checked. I know certain people that say they get checked every week, just to make sure, they're clean. I just can't be that person. I feel like if I been in contact with somebody or got symptoms, I'll get checked. But to play the preventative, just get checked every week, I don't think I could ever do that. So I caught COVID. Honestly, I'm not saying I'm happy I caught it. I mean, I'm happy I survived. So yay on that. But I'm not saying I'm happy I caught it. But I'm happy, I guess, I got to, go through the experience. I mean, it sounds crazy, but, I went through it. I survived. When people bring it up, I can now relate to the individuals that, that have it. Obviously, based off news, statistics, all that, we definitely have plenty of people that unfortunately have passed away from COVID. So, yeah, I can't say I experienced that because, I'm alive. But at the same time, for the people who had it, there's been some extreme stories, some lackluster stories. Some people you really didn't even know they had COVID until, like, just me, they told you that, oh, we didn't know you had COVID. You didn't make a big deal of it. I feel a little special that I had it. I mean, I'm not trying to catch it again because I think one of the craziest things that did happen in 2020, in my opinion, is when you heard somebody had COVID and they got, recovered from it, and then they got it again. I was just like, yo. People were comparing it to basically, the plagues of the old and, obviously the flu. And obviously some of those, like the flu, you can catch it. Year later, catch it. Year later, catch it. Hopefully you're taking vaccines, but, COVID just when it first came out, people just made it seem like once you caught it and survived it, you were probably good to go. So once we found stories that people were getting it, recovering, and then getting it again, I was just like, well, dang. I mean, it's a disease. It makes sense. But, it was like, when will this be over? Hopefully when the vaccine has come out. The vaccine is now out. I keep saying I wouldn't mind being one of the first few people to get it. But at the same time, I wouldn't be so mad if I'm like in the middle. I just want to see it on a few people before I chuck myself in it. I'm not being selfish. I won't be last in line, but I just want to see some people first. As I said, I had it. I do feel like I'm, some part of this club. Like, when I have kids, I can now tell kids, hey, 2020, that disease that people had, the big disease, the big 2020? Daddy had it. Right here, I had it. Daddy, you had COVID? Yeah, I had COVID. I survived. By myself, with no one. That's actually a lie. I had plenty of support. People who really couldn't travel to see me, they definitely sent all the support they could. The people that could see me, they offered to help. I definitely appreciate it. The person that did help, I do appreciate them, 100%. Dropped off food at the door. I would say, a little bit off topic because of this, not me getting COVID, but the whole situation, I definitely started to take advantage of like DoorDash and Uber Eats. So while I had COVID, that's when I ordered the most, but after it was over, I started ordering more. But the COVID part was just, I guess it was surreal if I had to say, because as I said, I didn't know if I had it. I just went and got tested it because of events that led up to it. Once I had COVID, I had to like sit there for like maybe 10 seconds to contemplate, I got COVID. And after that, I didn't really know what to do with myself because obviously the people who find out they got COVID, they always say, 10 days to 14 days, so basically 2 weeks. Not that you'll be cured, but after that, you should see yourself get better. And there have been some extreme stories of people who have lasted way longer. So my mom was like, all right, thinking like, I don't feel nothing now, so will the side effects come later? Or did I already have side effects before? Because before I got tested, like literally 5 days before, I was sick as a dog. I thought I had the cold, but I thought it was worse. Not the flu, but my body was aching. Literally, every time I opened my eyes, I feel like my eyes were tearing up. I felt weak, like bad weak. I tried to work one day, and I remember I was in a meeting, like, Skype, Zoom meeting. I was in a meeting, and at a certain point, I just had my head laid down, and literally, if nobody talked to me, I didn't say a word. At a certain point, they was like, blah, 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 blah. Correct, Cedric? I unmuted myself. I was like, correct. Mute. Put my head right back down. But again, that was a couple days before I actually found out I had COVID. So again, I'm not saying that wasn't COVID. Just at the time, I didn't think it was COVID, and I guess I was protecting myself. I didn't want to think it was COVID, so I didn't get tested. So later on, when something happened, I was like, all right, let me get tested, and I found out I had COVID. I was like, all right, maybe that was COVID, but based off what people kept telling me the symptoms of COVID was, I didn't think I had it. So the events that led up to me thinking I have COVID, I was like, all right, let's get tested. Really, Atlanta's weird. They keep saying there's free test sites all over Atlanta, and if you drive around Atlanta, you will see a lot of free sites. It just, for some reason, when I found out that I should get tested, I don't know why, my mind just went blank, and I was like, where do I go to get tested? I could drive to things called U.S. Brand Mart, things like the Asian store that sells a lot of Asian stuff, even though it's called U.S. Brand Mart. Don't call me. Maybe it's called Brand Mart. It's one of them. It's a big store. Like, if you're driving down 285, you will see this store. And literally, if you go there, there's a free testing site right there. And there's probably another place down the street that I saw the other day. I just forgot. It's like, you see it, like, all right, cool. If I, for some reason, feel like I have symptoms, I can go here. But that's because you see it at the moment. But when you're at home, you don't think too hard about where can I go. Because your first thought is like the emergency room, hospital, urgent care. Those places. But the free ones that you can just drive, they swab you. You drive a little feet, sit there for like a couple minutes or an hour, and they like call you, hey, you got it, or hey, you don't got it. You see it, but you don't think about it. So, when I thought about, maybe I have COVID, let me figure it out. Again, I just didn't think what to do, where to go, because I never really set up a doctor appointment. I went to this website. Well, actually, basically, I just Googled COVID testings, and they just kept bringing up, like, the hospitals and urgent cares. So I saw an urgent care down the street. For some reason, it was just like, please do not come if you have COVID. It was the weirdest thing. I know it don't make sense, but the way it was described on the site, it was like, just don't come if you got COVID. But another urgent care, which is basically the same name, but for some reason, the other side of the city I live in, it was like, hey, you can come, just make an appointment, do a virtual thing, blah, 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 blah. I was like, all right, I don't know what that is, but let me sign up. So I signed up for it. Once I signed up for it, at the very end of the page, it was like, hey, please make sure you XYZ. Again, I can't remember what it was, but I know whatever it said, I was like, oops, I messed up. So I called the lady, and I said, hey, I just read your website. I just signed up for COVID testing. Is that okay? She said, oh, yeah, it's fine. Just show up with your ID. You good to go. Cool. Next day, went there, walked in the building. The lady was like, nope, turn around. I was like, huh? Did you blah, 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 which is basically fill out the information online, take a picture of your driver's license online, do some other stuff online. I was like, no. She was like, yep, turn around. Walked outside. There's this big sign right in front of the door. Say, please take this piece of paper, fill it out, do XYZ, 1, 2, 3, do all this before you go in. And also, it's not that you like do it then go in. It's like do it, sit in your car for 5-10 minutes for us to call you. Say, hey, Cedric, we saw you did the information online. We saw your driver's license. You good to come in. So like, that just took me aback. Like, man, if this was like to maybe have COVID, I don't know what it's like to have COVID. I did all that. Sat in my car for 10 minutes. They called me and said, hey, Mr. Love, come in. I went in. And they was like, hey, go to 2B. Do not cross this line. If you cross this line, you're too close. 2B. So I went to 2B. Went in the room. Sat there for a couple minutes. White man came in. He stood like, I was like 10 feet away from me. Like, he did not want to get close to me. So So he asked me, like, what's the reason for you getting tested? I told him these are the reasons. Based off what I say, yep, there's a good chance you have COVID. Quarantine yourself for 10 days to 14 days. He left out. His nurse came in. His nurse said, hey, even though he said you most likely have it, obviously we're going to test you. She got the little Q-tip. And I ain't gonna lie, she told me before she did it, she's like, we're going to stick this up your nose. When we stick it up your nose, we're going to stick it far up your nose. When we stick it far up your nose, you're going to cry. Not like boo-hoo, but like your eyes going to tear up, so be prepared for that. So she went up my left nose, bam, came out, bam, right nose. I was like, And after she did that, she was like, close your nose, lean your head back, and just stare at the ceiling. I was like, So when I came down, still holding my nose, next you know, tear fell down my face. So she was like, yep, told you he's gonna cry. I was like, bruh, you were not joking. So after that, she was like, hey, we got your stuff. Just go home. We'll give you a call before the end of the day. So I think at the time it was probably, if I had to guess, like 11:30. So they called me around like 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, hey, Mr. Love, you got COVID, quarantine yourself for 10, 14 days. So at that point, I was like, what's this going to be like? And I tell y'all, I quarantined to the best of my abilities for 10 to 14 days. I know you're supposed to be in-house, but there's one time, I think it was that day, when they found out I had COVID, and I noticed it's bad. When I found out I had COVID that day, I put gloves on, I put a hat on, mask on. I literally was covered head to toe. Like, ain't nobody finna touch me, ain't finna touch nothing. But I gotta go to the store because I need food. Because at the time, I had nothing. I didn't really have nobody to tell me at the time, hey, I got COVID. So went to the store, came back real quick, made sure to hand sanitize my whole body before I actually went to the store. So after I got back from the store, had food in my house. At that point, I basically just quarantined for 10 to 14 days. Again, Uber Eats and all that stuff. During the time, I was fine. Like I said, I'm not trying to make light of it, but I know everybody has their own, everybody has their own experience with, COVID. So I said, for me, I was sick the week before. That probably was my COVID moment. But for the 10 to 14 days I quarantined, literally woke up, worked, watched TV, chilled. Now, because I'm just that type of person, like, I don't think I'm going to tell everybody, but I told the right people. So, told family, told mom, told girlfriend, stuff like that. I told my supervisor, I said, hey, just to let you know in case something happens, I got COVID. I love people. I love people so much. But, I was like, hey, supervisor, in case something happened, I got COVID. His first response, what were you doing? You can't ask me how I'm feeling. Why you gotta be like, what were you doing? Love that, man. Either way, I told him, hey, I don't think I did nothing crazy. Like, yeah, the weekend or the week before, I did go hang out with family, for family time. But during that time, I was covered up, hand sanitized every time I could. So after that, I came back to Atlanta. I did go to the gym one time. I'm just saying, there's a bevy of reasons I probably caught it. I'm just saying, I don't think I did nothing truly out of the ordinary, but, it is what it is. I told him I got COVID. It's been confirmed. They told me quarantine 10, 14 days, from the day I felt symptoms. But since I don't really know when I'd had symptoms, as I said, first one just thought I was sick, I'm just going to start today. So he's like, cool. So the next day, his boss, so my boss, so it's like supervisor boss, but boss, he hit me up, hey, Cedric, I talked to my boss. So at this point, we have a chain of bosses, my supervisor, my manager, his boss, so my general manager. So supervisor, department manager, general manager, in that order. My department manager was like, hey, I talked to the general manager. The general manager's, hey, we already set up, COVID, PTO, so, might as well take advantage of it. And I told him, nah, I'm fine. Like, if I was going to use it, I should have used it last week. But right now, I'm fine. I'm not saying I don't see no issues, but, like, I don't think how I'm feeling now would impede how I work. But, they were just adamant, hey, you got it, use it, might as well. So I was like, well, since it's basically Wednesday, Okay, so that Wednesday, I worked all the way until like 4. And I don't know why. 4 o'clock hit, and I just got super tired. I can do research right now, but I'm not sure if being tired is truly a symptom of COVID. But that whole day, I was Gucci. I was fine, watched TV, eating food, nothing crazy. 4 o'clock hit, bro, my eyes just got so heavy, went to sleep. Mind you, I get off at 5, so I went to sleep on the job. Like, I woke up at like 4:40. Looked at my laptop, realized I have no important new emails, and went back to sleep. Woke up at 5, closed my laptop, got in bed, went to sleep. I woke back up obviously later, but just like that sleep hit me hard. But that Thursday, Friday, they convinced me to not work, so I just didn't work. Obviously, I went back to work that Monday and following still was quarantine, but and also y'all, if y'all don't know, I'm working from home. So I was working from home the whole time. And so once Monday and them came, quarantine was still going, I was fine. I will say there might have been a few scares that it happened. Like, I have notorious cold hands and notorious cold feet. So at a certain point, I was in somebody's apartment, and my feet were so cold they were itchy. My hands were so cold they were itchy. Now, mind you, since my hands and feet are always cold, I've actually experienced this plenty of times in my life. But for some reason, it didn't feel different or new. It's just like I haven't experienced this in like so long that it kind of caught me off guard. Like, the combination of COVID and this, I was like, bruh, I kind of hope this is not because of COVID. But at the same time, I was just thinking logically, it's happened plenty of times. It just ain't happened in so long. I just forgot about it. The whole, if you can't breathe or you may be coughing more because of COVID, again, I was fine. And then like 1 day and a half, so not 2 full days, but a day and a half, I was coughing, not like a lot, but coughing way more than a normal human should be doing. And I was like scared, maybe the symptoms started to come. At a certain point, that went away. I'm already out of shape, so being winded when I do stuff, that's a thing. Like, I always try to work out, get off working out, then work out again and get off. So me being winded wasn't a big deal. But coughing popped up for a day and a half. Told you my cold hands, feet. Not sure if that was part of COVID, but that was a freak out because of COVID. Besides that, again, 2 weeks or 10 to 14 days went by fast. I saw no major issues. As I said, the urgent care, they were adamant, hey, 10 to 14 days, don't do nothing, don't talk to people, just quarantine yourself. And they was like, don't call us. Like, we told you, 10 to 14 days, you do not have to call us every day. You do not have to call us in 2 weeks. We told you 10 to 14 days, you were good to go. So I was cool. After 10 to 14 days, I was fine. Again, as of right now, I don't think I've caught it. There was one individual who told me I'm probably asymmetric. Yeah. There was one person who told me I'm probably asymmetric, which, cool or bad. Kind of hard to say. Good, ain't got no symptoms, but bad that if I don't notice my symptoms, I could still pass it to people. But again, I'm very, very conscious of who I hang out with. Like, if I'm hanging out with you constantly, then, hey, constant. But meeting new people, I try not to do that. Like, prime example, my company, they've actually had like 3 gatherings, which makes no sense because they have been emphasizing so hard, please make sure you social distance. But they have made us they have asked us 3 times, hey, we're gonna have food trucks. When you get there, make sure you wear a mask. When you get there, there's gonna be a scanner, check your temperature. When you get there, make sure you stand 6 feet. When we get there, we do everything but the 6 feet thing, because we always huddle under this same freaking metal, patio type thing. That's the best way to describe it, patio thing. And we're all just on each other. And I said, when we get there, we have masks. When we're eating the food truck food, the masks are off. When we're done eating, it's like 80% of people put their masks back on, but the other 20% don't. I'm just like, what's the point of this? Like, I trust y'all, but, I can't trust y'all like that. Like, if I literally felt like I was going to meet my mom or my grandma, like, next week, I probably wouldn't go to these social events, but because I'm by myself, like, I have my own apartment, don't live with nobody, it's like, all right, I could probably risk it maybe again, but it's like, how many emails y'all keep sending us to make sure we social distance, but y'all keep making us meet with each other? Like, bro, I don't know y'all. I don't know what y'all be doing. Either way, that was not the highlight of 2020 for me, but it just, of everything that happened in 2020, COVID's a thing. Like, you look back on all the years, when we say 2020, we're going to be like, quarantine, COVID. Or, we quarantine because of COVID. Either way, COVID's going to be the main topic. So, when that topic comes up, I can say, oh, yes, I had COVID. I can't go into horrific details because, again, I've heard stories of people being bedridden for a full month, people losing weight, people losing their smell, their taste, all that. None of that happened to me. I said the week before I was sick, but I just felt like I had a cold, like nothing too crazy. I was just super sleepy, my body ached, but that happens when I get sick anyway, so no big deal. As I said, hopefully 2021 goes better. Unfortunately, COVID is still currently a thing. The vaccine's out, so hopefully the vaccine will help us get back to a normal life. This year I turned 30, so hopefully I can actually celebrate my 30th birthday. One of my podcasts I did last year actually said, oh, COVID better be gone by my birthday because I want to celebrate. I didn't really get to celebrate. Now, obviously, I hung out with my girlfriend, got some chicken wings. They were delicious, but I really didn't do nothing. But this year, I turned 30. I'm trying to do something. Even if I got to get my whole crew, myself, take like 10 vaccines, we gonna do. I want to do something big from the 30th, and if I can't, oh well. But I'm doing something this year, next year. Like, bruh, something's happening for my birthday this year, next year, because I'm 30. I'm 30 with no kids, but no gray hair. Slightly balding, a little balding. Like, you gotta stare at my. If you're looking at me, my left side, my that area's kind of receding, but because I got hair, you really can't see it unless you stare. Either 30 years old, it's a big step in my life, and kind of hope COVID will freaking kick rocks so I can celebrate my goddamn birthday. Either way, for all my listeners who's actually caught COVID, glad you survived. Good job. But I wonder what your experience was like, if you did go through the whole, lose smell, lose taste, if you felt like you were truly dying, or if you had a simple one like me where, you probably felt something, but it just wasn't as bad as the news and maybe other people made it out to be. So, if you want to, in the comments, talk about your COVID experience. When I say your COVID experience, even if you yourself didn't have COVID, if you know your friend or your husband, something like that had COVID, talk about your experience with them. All the trips you had to make to Chili's, all the food you probably had to make. Maybe you just couldn't be around your wife, husband, best friend for 2 straight weeks because, they had to, talk about it. I'm very curious about it. Besides that, as I said, 2021 podcast will be a little different. I'm going to just try to talk about whatever's heck on my mind, not really try to talk about a topic like I'm in 8th grade language arts because it just felt weird when I re-listened to some of my podcasts, and as I said, I apologize for that. This week's podcast episode is sponsored by the vaccine. If you already got it, good job. If not, what you waiting on? Are you waiting to see if other people are doing it, or are you just on the bottom of the barrel of the list of people who are going to get it? As I said, I haven't offered it. I want to get it. I just don't want to be first in line. Either way, this is CedLove with his Devil's Advocate podcast. Hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll see you soon. So that's it for the little episode of 10 days. So basically, when the events led up to so Cedric, start here.